Every Honda owner thinks they're protecting their car with these buttons. The green Econ button saves gas. The Circle A stops engine wear. The VSA button kills the annoying interventions. You're pressing them every single day, and for most of you, at least one of them is working against your engine instead of for it. I've been in this trade for 15 years. I've watched the same patterns destroy transmissions, batteries, and brake systems on Hondas with less than 100,000 miles on them. I'm going to show you 5 buttons. One of them you need to stop using the way you're using it right now. Button 1. The Econ button, the one wearing out your engine. That green button with the leaf on it. Your Honda wants you to press it. Here's the problem. Your Honda's Econ mode was designed for one specific situation: flat highway cruising. Steady speed, light load, no hills. In that situation, Econ is fine. It tells your transmission to hold a high gear, cuts some throttle response, and saves you a little fuel. Great. Now picture your morning commute. Stoplights, merging, slight inclines, a quick pass on the highway. You've got Econ on the whole time. At every acceleration point, every time you press the gas, and the car is already in a high gear, your Honda's transmission gets a command it can't cleanly follow. It's being told to stay in high gear and save fuel, but you're asking it to accelerate with a car full of passengers or cargo. Your transmission handles this mismatch by partially slipping. Think of it like trying to start moving a heavy cart while you're in 5th gear on a bicycle. You can do it, but your chain is grinding. In a Honda CVT, and that's the Civic, Accord, CR-V, and Odyssey for most of you, that slip generates heat. Transmission fluid is healthy below 200 degrees. For every 20 degrees above that, the fluid's useful life gets cut in half. Econ mode in stop-and-go traffic regularly pushes your fluid well past that threshold. Your dashboard never shows you a transmission temperature gauge, so you never know it's happening. I had an owner with a 2019 Accord last spring, 67,000 miles. She drove 18 miles each way to work. City driving, Econ on the whole time. Her CVT started slipping during highway passing. I drained the fluid. It was dark, with a slight burn smell. Her transmission service interval had been silently overrun. We caught it before total failure, but barely. A flush and fresh fluid ran her $140. The transmission replacement quote from the dealer up the street was $4,600. Use Econ on flat highways at steady speed. Turn it off in the city, on hills, during AC heavy summer driving, and anytime you're merging or passing. That's all it takes. Button 2. The Auto Idle Stop button, the circle with the A. Almost every 2013 and newer Honda has this button. When you turn the car on, the idle stop system is active by default, and almost every owner I know presses that Circle A button every single start to turn it off. I understand why. The system shuts the engine off at red lights and restarts it when you lift your foot. It feels abrupt. You feel the engine cut out. You don't trust it. But your Honda's idle stop system uses a specialized battery, an AGM battery, that costs $300 to $400. It's built for repeated charge and discharge cycles. That's its job. When you disable idle stop on every single startup, you're breaking the pattern the battery was designed for. The Honda charging system detects that the battery isn't cycling properly and responds by slightly overcharging to compensate. Over 2 or 3 years, that pattern degrades the battery cells. When that AGM battery fails early, and it will fail earlier than it should if you disable idle stop constantly, the Honda Smart Charging System goes into recovery mode on your next startup. The alternator runs at elevated voltage for the first 20 to 30 miles to try to restore charge. Your engine is working harder than it should during warm-up, which is the worst time to add load. On V6 pilots and older Odysseys with variable cylinder management, that warm-up phase is precisely when cylinder deactivation is most aggressive. Adding alternator load on top of that stresses the oil pressure at the very moment your cylinders are cycling in and out. The idle stop system is annoying. I agree with you. But disabling it the right way is to buy an idle stop eliminator module for about $40 to $50 that plugs into the button port and keeps it off automatically without disrupting the charging cycle. Or simply let it run and ignore it. What you don't want is the daily habit of pressing it off and teaching the charging system to overcompensate. Button 3. The Maintenance Minder Reset button. This one is the quietest of the 5, and it might cost you the most. Your Honda Maintenance Minder uses letter and number codes. Code A means oil change. Code B means oil plus inspection. Then there are number codes. 1 is tire rotation, 2 is air filter, 3 is automatic transmission or CVT fluid, 4 is spark plugs, 5 and 6 are other services. When your maintenance minder light comes on, most owners go get an oil change and then reset everything. All codes at once. Press and hold, confirm, done. Clean slate. The problem is this: if you reset all codes at the same time, any code that was close to triggering but hadn't tripped yet gets wiped. Your code 3 for CVT fluid might have been 4,000 miles from showing up. You reset it along with the oil code. Now the clock starts from 0 again. Next time you'll be at the oil change interval again before code 3 has time to surface. Do this a few oil changes in a row, and you've pushed your CVT fluid service 15,000 to 20,000 miles past where it should have been. The fluid is degrading. You have no warning light, no dashboard indicator, nothing. The car feels fine until it doesn't. The fix: before you reset anything, photograph your maintenance codes on your phone. If you see a code 3 approaching, or any number code alongside your oil code, service that too. Don't reset what you haven't serviced. And if your shop resets everything without asking, find a different shop. If this is already making you rethink how you've been using your Honda, you're in the right place. This is what the channel is about. The stuff the dealer service department doesn't bring up, because these repairs keep them in business. Hit subscribe. Every week I go through Honda-specific issues that owners with 60,000, 100,000, 200,000 miles are running into, and drop your Honda model and mileage in the comments below. I want to see how far you've pushed yours. Button 4. The VSA button. VSA stands for Vehicle Stability Assist. It's Honda's system for keeping your car from sliding when traction gets loose. Rain, gravel, snow. Most owners know that pressing the VSA button disables it temporarily. What most owners don't know, there are 2 different VSA button behaviors, and they do very different things. A quick press turns VSA off for a moment, useful if you're in snow and need to rock the car free. When you get going normally, VSA comes back on. A long press, holding the button for 3 Econs or more, turns VSA off completely until you either press it again or restart the car. The dashboard warning light stays on the whole time. The owners I see who have problems are the ones who long press the VSA button because they find its interventions annoying on winding roads or in rain, and then forget it's disabled. They drive for days or weeks with VSA off. On a Honda with aging tie rod ends or worn front control arm bushings, which describes a lot of Accords and CR-Vs past 120,000 miles, VSA does more than prevent slides. It manages how brake force is distributed during cornering. With VSA off on a car with worn steering components, brake shimmy goes unmanaged. Rotors score unevenly. Brake wear accelerates. A quick tap for specific situations is fine. A long press that you forget about is a problem. Check your dashboard. If the VSA warning light is on and you're driving normally, press the button and turn it back on. Button 5. The push to start, ACC mode. 2014 and newer. This applies to every Honda with a push-button start. 2 modes most owners don't think about. 1 tap with your foot off the brake. Accessory mode. Radio and windows. Low current draw. 2 taps with your foot off the brake. Full own mode. Everything activates. Climate control, heated seats, rear defrost, all ECU modules. But the engine stays off. The owners who get into trouble are the ones who sit in full-on mode for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Warming up the car in winter without starting the engine. Running the AC in a parking lot. Waiting in a drive-thru. Full-on mode with heating and defrost running pulls 80 to 120 amps from the battery without the alternator running to replace it. Honda's AGM battery handles this for a few minutes. Past that, the charging system goes into recovery when the engine finally starts. The alternator runs at elevated output for the first part of the drive. On V6 models, Pilot, Ridgeline, older Odyssey, high alternator load during warm-up is exactly when the variable cylinder management system is deactivating cylinders. High load plus cylinder cycling during cold oil is the combination that causes premature lifter wear. If you need to warm your Honda up in winter, start the engine. If you want to use accessories, use the accessory mode. 1 tap, not full ON. The difference in current draw is significant, and over 3 or 4 winters it adds up. Close. Identity reward plus funnel. 5 buttons. Most of you had no idea at least one of them was working against you. The Econ button is the one I see because the most damage, specifically in city driving and during summer when AC load is already high and the transmission is already working harder. The maintenance minder reset issue is the sneakiest. Owners doing everything right, oil changes on time, regular service, have no idea they've been wiping their CVT service clock every single time. These aren't rare edge cases. They're patterns I see weekly. The difference between a Honda that goes 250,000 miles and one that needs a $4,500 CVT at 90,000 is almost always maintenance decisions the owner didn't know they were making. You know now, that's the only thing that changes the outcome. Drop your Honda model and mileage in the comments. I want to see how your fleet is holding up. And if you want to go deeper on the CVT specifically, what it takes to keep it alive past 200,000 miles and what the early warning signs look like, that video is up next.